Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. I am Gat, your host. A viewer requested the natal chart analysis, the birth natal chart analysis, so that's what we're going to do. Of course, with all new requests, the person gets a free report on astrology. It also has other videos, like videos on twin flame separation, things of that nature. So we will be starting now. Now, ironically, the first thing you're going to notice is a certain connection between the 12th house and the first house, because they put the sun and Palace at 29 degrees in Virgo and the 12th house, and then right away they go right into the ascendant and the east point at 1 degree and 2 degrees. Whenever you're dealing with 29 degrees, those are critical degrees, and first and second degrees are novus. So this person immediately, you would have to advise this person to watch their thoughts and especially watch what they say, especially to other people or what they say about certain things. This is because, well, let's just do Virgo first. Virgo in the 12th house. Virgo rules the 6th house, so that her 12th house and 6th house are going to be greatly connected. And what happens in that regard? See, if you're just looking at the chart, see how Aries is in the 7th house, and see, there's a lot of aggression, but it's just like and that's a true north node. Again, let me see, let me make sure. Okay, it's at 20 degrees. So, see, in your first house, there's a problem when Libra's in your first house, because the first house is really I am. So when you see Libra in the first house, this is a person who's going to want we are, or be very concerned with some type of partnership, some type of togetherness. Even Libra can be legal or social concerns as well. So when a person defines themselves, the first house is your personality and should be the I am or Aries energy. Should be about how people see you, how the world sees you, and how you kind of show yourself to the world. So this would be a person who really wants some type of partnership, possibly some type of relationship, possibly social issues, or even legal issues, because that's all that Libra does. But when you go to the 7th house, you see Aries, and that's I am. So when you get to the 7th house, you're supposed to really be getting more relationship minded, how you get along with other people, things like that. So when you see Aries, you definitely see aggression. I am, because a relationship generally won't work with the I am unless you're in a relationship with someone who allows you to kind of like push your way and your will over them. Now we're definitely going to do more with the 12th house, but what we're trying to do is define right now the 12th. We're going to do more with the 7th house, the house of relationship, where Aries is, but we're still trying to define the 12th house and the first house. Now, when you see 1 degree, 2 degrees, 0 degrees, this is what people call novice. That's like a newer person. So they're going to be a little naive, wet behind the ears when it comes to Libra. Now, Libra, again, is relationships, business partnerships, contracts, open enemies, the seventh house, social issues, or legal issues. So now you don't want to be a novice. What happens with Libra as well, Libra can be somewhat idealistic because they want everything to balance out. But with Aries aggression, the balancing out might not be fair. Because sometimes when Libra sees something a certain way, they really want it. So sometimes even if they agree to disagree, they'll still try to get their viewpoint across or how they feel about a situation. Especially with Aries energy. Some Libras, when they first get into a relationship, they kind of see it idealistically. But then when they start to see faults and flaws, which we all have, they begin to withdraw. But they don't necessarily tell that person. Like instead of saying to the person, we need to talk, could I talk? I'm just not happy. They'll just withdraw. So they may start to like even flirt with somebody else or somebody they work with or something. But they've kind of withdrawn a little bit from the relationship. And the person may never know why. So that's not really healthy for a relationship. And Virgo can do the same thing because Virgo can also be somewhat of a perfectionist, and they're real good at finding something that's wrong. So if you had a document with some flaws in it, other zodiac signs may not be able to find it, but usually a Virgo can find the flaws. Probably almost every single one of them, if not every single one of them. But Virgo rules the sixth house, which deals with service, home, health, healing, daily activities, small children, and small animals. And if you go to the sixth house, you see Pisces. Now, again, Pisces deals with being inspirational, but Pisces also deals with idealism because Neptune is called the deceiver. Planet Neptune rules Pisces, and Neptune is a deceiver. So this person may really be there. And when they begin to speak, because you see Mercury, and Mercury is going to deal with your thoughts and your words, they may be even begin to speak, and that could cause problems too if they're being overly aggressive with Aries or overly critical with Virgo, or they're just trying to push what they think is fair and balanced, which it might not be because you got Aries in your seventh house. And Aries' motto is I am. So you ain't going to be too balanced with I am. So these are things that a person will want to be mindful of because that's why I tell everybody constantly. That's why I feel I'm one of the most hated people in the relationship realm because our life and our relationship is going to really be kind of what we make it. Now, some of us have been victimized and some of us have gone through things. That's not what I'm talking about. But some of us make our own bed hard with how we respond. And that's why it's important to get the natal chart to really know ourselves so that, somehow it starts to come out. Maybe somebody tells us or somehow maybe, because we have a lot of connections, whether we know it or not. That's why we say spirit all the time, spirit. But we have guardian angels. We have a lot of connections where even one of them might try to tell you that, hey, you're being a little too critical here. Or, hey, you're being a little bit too unrealistic here. And things like that. And you can maybe catch yourself as opposed to thinking it's the other person's fault. Well, I'm not being too critical. This person would just do this and do that. But we're never talking about ourselves. So that's the key to adulthood when we start to really look at ourselves. Hey, how could I make that better? Well, did I do anything to lead to this argument? Did I do anything to lead to this separation? And we begin to hold ourselves accountable. So sun sign is Virgo, ascendant Libra. So let's finish up in the first house since we're just about done. So the ascendant is the sun rising over the horizon when she was born. So the sun was in Virgo when she was born, but it was rising over Libra when she was born. The east point is where the sun was over the ecliptic when she was born. So that asteroid at 21 degrees is Curious. Curious is a nurturer. So she will speak for social issues. She will speak for partnership or relationship issues. She'll speak for legal issues, justice issues, what may be fair. And she'll be somewhat of a nurturer in those areas. But the danger is you never want to define yourself with another person. A relationship should never make you. If anything, you help make the relationship. The 12th house is really about endings, past life, things that are hidden that need to be brought out. It could be spiritual. The 12th house is where a person is supposed to be helping other people. So they should be taking their Virgo energy and helping people be more Virgo minded. But you have to be careful of the 12th house because it'll drain you if you're not careful. Because you're so busy helping other people and everybody's sucking up your energy that you actually martyr yourself. So even though you're supposed to be helping other people in the 12th house, you still have to know when to say no. And the best help you can give to anybody is to help them learn how to help themselves. Now I'm just pausing because it's a few places that I could go. All right, so let's go to the 6th house because that 6th house is playing off of the 12th house with that Pisces energy. Now, whenever you have Jupiter in the 12th house, that is your angel of good fortune. Now, ironically, the 12th house is ruled by Pisces. Pisces is in her 6th house, but her Virgo's in her 12th house. So she does have somewhat of a 12th house situation going on with Pisces energy. So she may really still have that angel, even though it's in her 6th house. But usually this angel will not let you be broke. Like no matter what happens, you won't be broke. Especially if you give the other people. And you're going to have that tendency because you got Libra. That Libra like social issues and stuff. So as long as you're staying 12th house minded, helping others in service, then that archangel, that guardian angel with the Jupiter energy is going to make sure that you have some type of finances in your midst, in your possession. But what we want to do is just do a read on Jupiter retrograde. Okay, remember that Jupiter and Saturn are both social planets. And they say Jupiter can affect people in a very holistic manner. And remember, your sixth house is the house of healing, because Virgo energy is healing. Like you have a lot of nurses, doctors, anything in healthcare coming off Virgo. And with her Virgo in the 12th house, she definitely will have a unique relationship with health or healthcare. So when Jupiter is retrograde, it causes the person to reevaluate ethics. So this person is right there with Pisces, and ironically, Jupiter used to rule Pisces in astrology. So this person may be interested in questioning spiritual beliefs, especially with that Virgo in the 12th house, because Virgo is gonna really find, look for it, find it. They're gonna be able to find it by instinct. So even if Virgo wasn't looking for it, Virgo's still gonna see it. So if she was sitting in a auditorium, a Virgo was sitting in an auditorium, even though everybody else is sitting in the same auditorium and stuff like that, Virgo would be able to see the shit happening that shouldn't be happening. She'd be able to see the mistakes here and there and stuff like that. So with Jupiter retrograde in the 6th house, which is ruled by Virgo, even though Pisces is there in her chart, spiritual beliefs are going to be questioned as well. Positions going to be questioned whether laws are really fair or beneficial. You're going to be questioning ethics, behavior, things of that nature. But what Jupiter retrograde does, it reminds us that we're all connected. So what Jupiter retrograde does is things that we didn't think were acceptable at some point in our life, all of a sudden we think that, it wasn't that bad. Or we start to see it from a different perspective or viewpoint. So something we swore we never do, all of a sudden with Jupiter retrograde, we're kind of assuming maybe we will. So her 6th house is helping her come to these closures that she needs in the 12th house. See, the 12th house is a house of isolation and introspect. It's also houses of buildings. So once it could be a court system, a police station, a jailhouse, a hospital, a doctor's office. But wherever we are, we're in our bedroom just thinking about stuff. We're trying to bring things to closure in the 12th house. So whatever going on in the 6th house, the universe is trying to bring to a closure in the 12th house. Jupiter is a ruler of travel. With retrograde Jupiter, travel plans may be adversely affected. Even if a person sits up and makes well laid out plans, things can still fall apart. They may lose their luggage, means of transportation might have a problem, they might see mechanical problems, reservations might get mixed up or canceled. So Jupiter retrograde is indicating that in a past life, this person may have been searching for ethics, fairness, and looking for deeper meaning. They may have been involved, or may even be involved today with scientific or philosophical research, because I see that Scorpio in the 2nd house. So what happens again, a person may really try to question spiritual beliefs. They may not believe in just having faith in spirituality. They want to be a little bit more hard copy. They want to see a little bit more evidence. So what this person wants is the spirituality, but it has to be mixed with intellectualism. In a past life, they may have been persecuted for their spiritual or ethical beliefs. So in this life, they feel uneasy about embracing something bigger than themselves that they don't fully understand. And they also have that fear they're dealing with. This is why this is going on in the 12th house, because this is where you're supposed to address, deal with, and overcome your fears, your subconscious mind, and also deals with the past, because really the 12th house is supposed to be getting you ready for the first house, and the first house you're supposed to be ascending out of the past life things. So it's dealing with all this in the 12th house. And they may also fear persecution for speaking up for what they believe to be right. But then again, that may be one of the reasons why Aries is there, to make this person be outspoken, because in the past life they were persecuted for speaking about what they felt was fair or just. So this person has got to learn how to listen to their intuition, but they also have to learn how to articulate without the aggression. Learning how to make your point across without feeling you have to dominate it to get your point across. And they say this person should meditate, because that's what the 12th house is about, and learn how to listen to that inner voice. And again, when you because I was just studying somebody. Well, it was Michelle Patterson at Angel. I forget what she calls herself, but it's Michelle Patterson. If you put in Michelle Patterson Angel, I think it's Angel Soul, SOU, I think. But if you put in Michelle Patterson Angel on YouTube, she would still come up. But she was saying how she had to learn how to meditate, because that's how she learned how to listen to Archangel. Because she said it was actually Archangel Gabriel that brought her into what she does now, the cards and stuff. So whenever you see any type of combination with Pluto and Venus and Scorpio, now this is the money house. So now it's a lot of things involved with Scorpio, and we have everything on a free report. It's a long list, and to read the long list, because the person's not going to be involved with every aspect of the 8th house, because Scorpio rules the 8th house. But the main things are, you will be dealing with the supernatural, psychic abilities, great transformation. A person will be wanting to deal with secrets and mysteries. They'll be dealing with doubt. They'll have trust issues. They're going to doubt you until they can finally trust you. Once they trust you, they will open up. They may be highly suspicious, highly doubtful, which can be frustrating to other people. But they are also very psychic, which means they may have a certain psychic feeling towards you, and you're saying, how did they find out about it? Because they got psychic stuff that nobody could ever understand from a human perspective. And it's like when Eddie Murphy did all those jokes about his mother when he was young, and how she knew stuff she shouldn't have knew, and had all this psychic supernatural power. And a lot of people see that with their mothers. How the hell does she know that happened? That's that psychic Scorpio. But it's also power struggles, and this is what the legal issues of Libra comes in. It's also other people's money. So you never really want Scorpio in your second house, for the simple fact is other people's money. Scorpio is really Taurus. Taurus rules the second house, and that's your money. So your second house should really be your money, like with Taurus. But when it's other people's money, it could be a problem, especially when you're dealing with power struggles and the power of Pluto and Scorpio, because Pluto rules Scorpio. And this is great transformation, but great secrets, great mystery, and it could even get harmful, because it's going to be a great fight for money. And when it's other people's money, you have to be careful, because that's how it could become legal. But Scorpio also deals with the unknown, past lives, present life, reincarnation, soul matters, twin flames, twin souls, the creepy crawlies, death, birth, and resurrection. So that's why I'm trying to say money highs, money lows, death, birth, and resurrection. But also with love, because Venus is there. And Venus also deals with finances. So the eighth house can be highly sexual. So this could be money and possessions in this person's value system, closely associated with Scorpio themes. And even like I said, love is there with Venus. And remember, Venus's love does not have to be like long term or faithful. It could just be partying, having a great time. It could, but it could also be long term. It could be off and on person, or maybe you're with this person and you kind of like that person, a lot more, but you're still with these other people. Whatever the case might be, but this is all going on in that second house, and it's great transformation, great transformation, but it's also death and rebirth, endings and new. And remember, for all intents and purposes, her eighth house is in her second house because of Scorpio and Pluto. So like I said, it's going to be a lot of hidden stuff, a lot of subconscious stuff. And if you notice, what they try to, because Scorpio is a water sign too, so they try to take these water signs on her chart and they oppose it with earth signs. Because see, Virgo's an earth sign, Pisces is a water sign, Scorpio is a water sign, Taurus is an earth sign. So they're almost trying to stabilize this powerful, watery, what I call aggression. And Aries used to rule Scorpio back in the day. Well, Mars used to rule Scorpio. Now Mars rules Aries. And the eighth house is also about investigations. You might be an agent for other people. It's also about karma. It's all about finances and business. A person might be working with the bank or connected to the bank, or they're always, interested on the money. What's with my bank? Let me pull out my phone and check my PayPal account, check my bank. What's going on? These are those type of people. But it's all everything I just said. And it's definitely all about the unknown and past lives. And when you're dealing with psychic people, they're connected to stuff like that. And see, with the moon there, that's watery again. So very watery, very powerful people. And they can be very internal. So again, a person like this, they have to learn how to bring that internal. That's the challenge. That's what I mean about by adulthood. Because you can bring your inner whatever out and kind of look at it and deal with it. And a lot of people can't do that. They don't want to deal with it. If it's under the carpet, keep it there. If it's deep down inside, nobody has to know. It's nobody's business. And they don't want to look at their inside. They really don't want that. But that's the whole point of astrology. It's not just seeing who you gonna love, who you gonna have sex with, what type of job you gonna get, how much money, or my boss is getting on my nerves. It's none of that. It's really like the real essence of astrology is to help you journey from your previous life to this life, and also to help other people along the way. So Taurus is very sensual, especially in the eighth house. So it's going to be a very sensual person, everything I just said. With the moon, it's going to be very internal. The moon represents the divine mother, divine feminine. But we already said that she was a nurturer from Kyrus and Libra. So it's the same way. Like this type of person would just have the gift of intensity, sexuality. They have that gift. Like Taurus and Tauruses are usually attractive. Plus they're magnetic. So if you ever see somebody and they really start to lose themselves, like when they see you, it's just your energy alone. It doesn't. It could be beauty, but it could also be energy. They just feel it and they try their best to get towards you. But Tauruses have that magnetism anyway, and her moon sign is Taurus. But even if the moon wasn't there, Taurus alone will do it. But with the moon, it's really gonna be there, and that's why I said like I was just playing some R. Kelly stuff last night. That's like that R. Kelly vibe, keep it on the down low. bump and grind. I think feels like she's ready, and all that stuff he was singing. That's that kind of vibe. Ain't nobody gotta know, and all kind of stuff coming off. All right, now in the 8th house, we're looking at part of fortune, which is that circle with the X in the middle of it. So we're gonna look at that. Give me a second. So again, forbidden knowledge is in the 8th house. Astrology, hidden knowledge, metaphysics, higher sciences, alternative sciences, healing, alternative healing. So this person will be interested in anything like that, anything hidden, the occult. And they have good powers of regeneration, rejuvenation. And anything with regeneration and rejuvenation, usually it is death and rebirth, or extending something. So again, this person is very good with keeping secrets and mysteries, and they can again find finances in these areas that we're speaking of. They might deal with the theatrical agent, or theater, whatever, Hollywood films, anything like that. They could be a manager for people, an agent for persons. So anything, because real estate is in the 8th house too. Properties in the 8th house. Ghost. So they're saying this person was born around sunrise, which is true. Because you got to remember, sunrise is so different now. How many of y'all remember when 6 p.m. was night? Like, it would really start getting dark at 6 p.m. Your parents or whatever would start closing the blinds and maybe locking the door. Because even back then, they really didn't worry about locking the door so much. And then they would start getting ready for dinner and stuff. And that was at 6 o'clock. And then at 6 a.m., it really would be like sunrise, like sun be coming out. It really used to be like that. So they're saying a person with the moon conjunct part of fortune was probably born somewhere around sunrise, which this person was. So they're saying this person will be interested in security themes. So they really want to feel secure about their finances. Maybe about the relationship, but I don't really get that off this. I don't get the vibe just looking at it. What I get is the aggression, but it kind of messes the relationship up. It's kind of like an aggression that kind of, some people just are moving fastly forward, and they kind of would like to be in a relationship, but they're just really aggressive towards it, and they kind of mess it up. Or it's the type of person that's, I need a man that could check me. I need a man that could do that. And I was just listening to Pat Benatar, because I never listened to the lyrics that hit me with your best shot. Because I'm going through like a soulmate situation right now, and my soulmate's kind of like that. She's kind of looking for me to be more aggressive as a male. But see, I don't give a fuck no more. No offense, but I'm just comfortable where I'm at, so I don't care. You know, if it works, it works. But I'm cool. Like I think I'm cooler, because when you really care, you're gonna fuck it up anyway. Because when you really care about the relationship and the person ain't acting right, you're going to lose your mind. Because you're going to be like, nah, I ain't going to be in a relationship with you. You messing my heart up, and you go crazy. But when you don't give up, you be like, I don't care. And you still look at that person like, oh, I know what you did last night. I don't care. And be laughing at it. Like, I know this person ain't just laughing at him. I just slept with somebody else and he's not even jealous because you be like, listen, if you knew how many times I done dealt with this on this silly little planet, I don't care. And but they look at you like they got respect for you because you really look at them like, oh, you thought that hurt me? You think you the first person to do some slick stuff? Like you think I care? You forget I'm psychic just like you. You forget I'm intuitive just like you. So who you think you playing? And they be like, whoa, this dude is on some way other shit. It's a respect they'll have for you that they don't even understand it. You could be that calm and shit. Not that you ain't hurting inside, but it's just like, okay, we can still get through this if you want to grow up. But if you don't want to grow up, then just keep on doing the stuff you're doing. But I just want you to know you ain't playing me out. All I got to do is get my cards, nigga. I want to find out what happened. So yeah, so I'm at that level. I'm at a different level now. But it's a lot of aggression with this and all that watery stuff. So that's what I'm saying. Not saying that they don't have somebody, because they probably do. But it's just a lot of aggression there, a lot of going around. So it is what it is. So I don't get that vibe off of that so much. I get more of the aggression of Aries. Well, plus we still gotta look at where Mars is at, the aggression of Scorpio, and just moving and just what we read in the first things. It's kind of like it's inconducive to like what you would call a lasting relationship. You might still have one, but a lot of people just have different definitions. To me, relationship is relationship. Libra is Libra. You see the two. You don't see 4 scales. You don't see 3 or 4 or 5 scales. You see 2 scales. So that's what it is. But there are people that have relationships like that. Especially when it's a lot of Scorpio energy, you'll see stuff like that. All right. Now, really quick, the reason why Gemini is in your 9th house, your 9th house is ruled by Sagittarius. But see, Gemini tends to be a little immature with relationships. Gemini doesn't want to know everything. Gemini rules your 3rd house. Yeah, that's where your Sagittarius is. Gemini rules your 3rd house, and that's about young children, young education, your siblings, the environment around you, the brotherhood, creativity, because the 3rd house is one of your most creative houses, but the 8th house is creative as well in a different way, and a very unknown. Everything I said, but it's still a creative house, and then the 5th house is very creative too, usually based on like a lot of fun and even drama in the 5th house. And anytime you see Gemini or Sagittarius, you're going to be dealing with publishing. But it's just that the 9th house, Sagittarius, has more class. So one thing about this person, they are a little bit more mature when it comes to relationships, because the Sagittarius in the 3rd house. And there you see there's Juno as well. See, a lot of times when you see a chart like this person has lived lifetimes. And that's why some of the chart will look like, wow, this person don't give a F, or this person just want to get busy. They just want to have a lot of sex. But then you'll see other parts of the chart where they really want a serious relationship. And that's why I'm going back and forth. But you have to remember, I have to read it as I see it. Because a lot of times people take it personal. It's nothing personal about it. But I have to read the chart as I see it. Otherwise, I shouldn't be doing this. Like if I use this, like a lot of these people on YouTube, they just getting money. They could care less. As long as they get money, they'll tell you whatever you want to hear. I don't do that. I tell you what's on the chart. I tell you whatever the cards say. And that's why I stay broke. But at least I'm in tune with the universe. All right. Now, so definitely it looks like this person has great communication. They have no problem communicating. And as you see, there is healing there, but there's also Lilith retrograde in the 9th house. So that's a unique place to have Lilith retrograde. And she was getting ready to go into the 10th house. So I do have to warn you, even though Lilith isn't in the 10th house, it's close enough. And remember, whenever you're dealing with these charts, it could be off by a degree or so. It just depends. So whenever you have Lilith in the 10th house, be careful, because that's your career sector. And what that is, Lilith in the 10th house is scandal. This is a person that they really achieve. This is a person that works very hard. They may get a really good position. They make a lot of money, but then they do some type of scandalous thing that gets them in trouble. And they get demoted or they lose all of it. So when Lilith retrograde is that close to your 10th house, you have to be very careful of possible scandal in your life, especially around your career or whatever those signs are and stuff like that. So Gemini in the 9th house could have something to do with studying, travel, and it still could have something to do with small things. It could be like short travels, because it's kind of like somebody might go to London. Now that would be like Sagittarius or 9th house energy, because London would be long distance from, say, America. But once they're in London, they're driving around, short distances. So that's why you would see like a That's why you would see Gemini, which represents short distances, and the 9th house ruled by Sagittarius. It could also be relationships that break up and get back together, break up and get back together, because there's definitely going to be some type of Lilith issues going on. So give me a moment because we want to look into that. All right, just give me a second. Some crazy stuff. Just give me a moment because this thing want to act up. Now, your 9th house is about philosophy, religion, higher education, class. When I say class, I like, oh, that lady has a lot of class, stuff like that. But it's also about in-laws, higher laws, higher courts. So, not saying this is the case, but this could be a person who gets in trouble with a higher court, but they get a shorter sentence because of Gemini. And that's why I said, like, when you see Scorpio in the 2nd house, that's kind of, I don't know his chart, but that's somebody like Jim Baker. Because remember, I think Jim Baker had the PTL, was it? And he made a lot of money, but he finally got caught and they put him in jail. He had a PTL. See, that's other people's money, and you make a lot of money, and you in jail. And now I forget how much time they gave him, and I forget how much time he actually served. But I think he went to a federal prison. Whenever you go into federal prison, if they give you 9 years, you best believe you're gonna do 85 to 90% of that. So in a federal prison, if they say 9 years, you best believe he did about 8. If they said, I don't know how much time they gave him. Now if it's a state prison, they might say, okay, we're gonna give you 4 years, but you only do 1 year. They give you a 4 flat, but you only do 1 year. Or if they say we're gonna put you in prison for 3 years, it's your first offense, 3 years, you'll only do 9 months. You won't even do a year. But the feds ain't like that. The feds, your ass, if they say 4 years, you best believe you're doing about 3 of them, if not more. Jim Baker free from jail. PTO was placed into bankruptcy by its new management, and in 1989, Pastor Jim was indicted and sentenced to 45 years in prison. Woo-hoo! In prison on charges of overbooking the lodging space of Heritage USA. Pastor Jim was resentenced in 1991 to 18 years and then later reduced to 8 years in federal prison. So one thing that man did, I guess all that money he got, he must have had it for them lawyers because they wanted to put him in jail for 45 years. And then he got it down to 18, and then he finally got it down to 8 years. So that's about right. So you figure if he went in jail, that's deep. So if he went in jail in the early 90s or whenever he went, but I'm just trying to show you how that works. But anyway, let's continue. But I still got to find one thing though. We're looking for Lilith retrograde. Now I'm gonna look at my file just to see if I can find. So if somebody says that Lilith retrograde offers past life indications, judged by its sign and house placement. All right, so we have this one. So let's just do Lilith in the 9th house first, but then we're gonna have to do retrograde because that's what it is. And there's a reason why she is almost going into the 10th house and all of that stuff. Give me a moment. I'm just trying to find this because I know I thought I made my own little folder, but now I'm trying to find out where it's at. So give me a moment. Because I thought I had made a little folder, but I guess it was Vesta, but now I made a little folder. Because those are very important asteroids on your natal chart. All right, so now we're going to go back in. All right, now say Lilith, right? Why is this being so difficult? All right. So just bear with me because this is important. That's why when you see me take a lot of time, it's because I know it's really essentially important. Plus, you got to remember your medium Coeli, that MC, is part of your life purpose. It usually has to do with your career, but not always, but it's essentially your life purpose. Because medium Coeli is usually in the 10th house, but it could also be in the ninth and all that. So it has to do with your life purpose. It could reflect on your career, but you just have to be real careful. See, even Lilith in the ninth house has way more information than a lot of these other houses. That's why I'm telling you it's important. All right, so I'm not gonna read it just yet because I really want to get the. That's pretty sweet. I like this. Sun. I ain't that. This is cool. I really want to use this. Give me a second. Because like what I do with astrology is this. Like one time, because people are human and they like, oh, they take it personal. It's like it can't really be personal because nobody knows you. I don't personally know you, so it can't be personal. But sometimes people take it personal. And like, I remember one time I was doing a chart and I was just reading what was on the chart. And so the woman said to me and my husband have a happy marriage. We've been married for 18 years. And I knew that couldn't be true because she was asking me about a lover, not her husband. Like, okay, well, that can't possibly be true because you're asking me about your lover and you're still married. And so then and then I said to her, I said, listen, I know what's on your chart. I said, I show separation. So you might be happily married, but there was a period of separation on your chart. And then she said, oh yeah, you're right. There was separation on my chart. So you guys just go with the chart. And like everybody says out here on YouTube, if it really doesn't resonate with you, just let it go, Because at the end of the day, everybody, you're going home to your house, I'm going home to mine. We really don't know each other. It could never be that personal. That's why I designed it like this. You're helping yourself if you want to help, but you're also helping other people, which means you're going to get blessings either way. And you're being able to get this information affordably. This was designed by me. I kept it that way. If you knew how many people told me, oh, you're under charging yourself, you're underpaying yourself and stuff. But I know what I'm doing because this is universal. So as long as you're giving back to the universe, you can never underdo yourself. You just have to believe that. Whatever you need at that time of needing, you will have it. I had an excellent experience with this person I met just a couple of days ago. Beautiful. That's what I mean about the universe. And then after that, the sun and the moon were outside in broad daylight, and it was just beautiful. It was so beautiful. I actually had a couple of people that I work with come outside and look at it. And even the customers, they were coming outside. I was saying, hey, everybody, look at that. And everybody's checking it out. It was just so beautiful. So that's how I work. I really work with the universe. I'm more into that. All right. Now, so we're still doing a little for the ninth house, but I don't want to rush it because it's a retrograde. That's why I'm taking so long. What just happened? Oh man, I hope. No, I guess I didn't. It probably was the same thing. All right. Because I X'd out a browser and it was still there, but I think I just had it twice. See, everybody's writing a lot of stuff about this Lilith in the ninth house, and that's why I don't want to rush it. But only it's retrograde, so that makes it go. That makes it go even slower. All right. What just happened? Did I do it again? Oh no, I didn't. Great. Very good. I'm almost there. Now we're going to do Lilith retrograde first. And remember, anything like 28 degrees, 29 degrees, and even 0 degrees is considered like a critical degree. All right, let me get out of here. So Lilith retrograde is dealing with denial. So again, it's internal, but it's dealing with that type of things going on inside of yourself internally, stuff you've been through that you're not dealing with yet. And remember, it's close to what? Cancer. Why is it close to Cancer? Because Cancer really is a sign of the family. I know Cancer is in the 10th house right now, but it's still a sign of the family. And how this works, it could be stuff the person experienced growing up with that family, whoever they consider was family, or it could be some past life stuff. So we try to find these things out on the chart if we're able to. He's saying with the sign of Scorpio, it also has to do with whether you're facing your fears or not. But remember, the 8th house, which is ruled by Scorpio, is a lot like the 12th house. But only the 12th house, you're really more expected in the 12th house to go inside of yourself and bring all that stuff out so that you can reckon it. That's why they call the 12th house the house of reckoning. And reckoning is when you really are strong enough to pull that stuff out and overcome it. And I'm kind of, like I said, the person I'm saying I work with, I'm going through that with her at this point now. So in the ninth house, they're trying to get her to deal with whatever she has internally going on. And it has to do with the Gemini energy. But I already told you about the Gemini energy because it takes you back to the third house. And in her third house, you see Sagittarius right there because Sagittarius rules her ninth house. So they're saying sometimes Lilith retrograde will show up where in areas where we don't want to really we don't really want to deal with it. So you have Chiron right there, so there is some possible healing, but the healing is not going to be as significant if you don't deal with whatever repression has to do with that Gemini energy or the Sagittarius energy. And if you notice, it's Juno right there where Sagittarius is. So this is definitely some type of relationship. But again, it could be past life or stuff like that because you got that retrograde. But it's something that you're kind of holding in that needs to be reckoned with so that you can move on. So Lilith retrograde, the universe is trying to make the person bring those things out. Whatever repressed, hitting inside, because that's what Lilith tends to do. Oh, now he is talking about Saturn and Sagittarius, and that's exactly what you have. So Saturn transiting through Sagittarius tries to help a person see reality. Because Sagittarius also searches for the truth, but they say Saturn can also search for the truth as well. All right. So now we understand why she's retrograde, but now we're going to understand a little bit more about Lilith in the ninth house. Okay, now what is this? All right, give me a moment. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Lilith in the ninth house may be very optimistic because that Sagittarius is very optimistic because Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So once again, this ninth house with Gemini is taking you back to where we saw Jupiter, which I retrograde, which I believe was in the sixth house, but it's also taking you where Sagittarius is in the third house. And many times you see the third house and the sixth house working together because it's all about healing. And when you deal with 3, 6, 9, that's really what that means in one way. 3, 6, 9, third house, sixth house, all about healing, and the ninth house is more maturity. So it can become a better relationship. And the ninth house is your higher self. And really your higher self is you going back to the masculine and feminine becoming one back again. So that's why 369 is such a powerful metaphysical number. Now, if you go to the cross, at the third hour, from 6 o'clock a.m., they took Jesus to Pontius Pilate. Before that, about 6 o'clock a.m., Pontius Pilate put Jesus on the cross. The third hour is 3 hours later, 9 a.m. He had been on the cross for 9 hours. Forget, let me get it. Something happened at the third hour. I forget what it was. He may have begun crying out at the third hour. At the sixth hour, which was 12 p.m., it became totally dark. And it stayed dark until the ninth hour, which was 3 p.m., when he gave up the ghost, died, and then the people demanded that they pull him off the cross before their Sabbath. It's funny, the reason why that's important to me right now, because I don't remember fully that third hour, and I keep seeing the number 3. So I gotta look at that real quick. I don't know, just give me one more minute. Okay, I think it is this way. He was taken to Pontius Pilate by 6 a.m. On the third hour, he was put on the cross, which would have been 9 a.m. On the sixth hour, darkness became. That would have been 12 p.m. And then on the ninth hour, he gave up the ghost and died. And that would have been 3 p.m. But he wasn't put on the cross to 9 a.m. According to some people. Some people may argue something else, but pretty much so. So that's what they said. Jesus' death, 6 hours of eternity. So those 6 hours would have been from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So he wasn't put on the cross until 9 a.m. Because that's all in your astrology chart. That's why if you look at your astrology chart, it looks like a cross. Just look at it. Look into the midst of the astrology. People think it's a difference. There's no difference between that spirituality and the spirituality of the universe. It's the matrix that makes you divide. Oh, I'm Catholic. Oh, I'm Buddhist. Oh, I'm this, I'm that. But that's all matrix foolishness, deception. That's why it's called Ma tricks. You're being deceived. It's a trick from Ma. And how do you know that? You have to understand there's a high priestess, which is Ma. She runs everything. But then there's the priestess. That would be Thoth or Hermes or your other name, sir. He wants me to say it, but I don't want to say it. Thoth, Hermes, and Mercury. Because he also called himself Mercury. And if you want to know his other name, you got to listen to my other channel. Because that's when I really go in. But that's the high. Well, it's the same people that when Jesus was born. Like, just read Luke chapter 2. It starts talking about priests, right? Luke chapter 2 starts talking about priests. So what you see in Luke chapter 2 is the priest. Mother Mary being the high priestess, the divine feminine. And then Gabriel being the high priest. And they're talking about the birth of this Messiah. So, and if you really read the book of Luke, it talks about taking them to the temple and all that stuff. Purification and all that stuff. Because this is all priestly stuff. It's not that difficult. It's only difficult when you stand in matrix and then you just don't know, and then you have to fight so hard for what you believe. But this is what I'm trying to tell you guys. If something's really yours, you don't have to fight for it. And that's when you throw people off their game because they want to go with you at third dimensional. But you don't have to play their game. You don't have to play their game at third dimensional. You should hit them with a higher dimension if that's where you're at, because they can't deal with it. Third dimensional is like a lower, weaker energy. Ego, and I'm gonna get you back, and I'm gonna cheat on you. I'm gonna make you think it's your fault. I'm just horny, but I'm gonna make you think it was your fault, and all this crazy. That's third dimensional. It's like, what the heck is this stuff? So you can't address it. You got to address it from where you're really from, if you are, because there's a lot of people on this planet that are not from third dimensional, and that's why you have people like Joseph that really understood astrology, or Daniel. He really understood the universe and astrology because he wasn't from third dimensional. The Messiah either. The Messiah wasn't from third dimensional. So let us continue. All right. So this person will be very cultured, very educational, enjoying knowledge. But they may have a problem, which we already talked about, of being taken advantage of others, or they may not want to talk about what they know. We already talked about that with the Jupiter retrograde. Very independent people, and they strive to know justice or social issues justice. They have no problem with supporting situations over on foreign or foreign long distance situations. And they have good psychological awareness of things. They advise you not to be so naive because they say this person will be ready to go to a foreign country to help out. And they say you got to be careful because you should know more information because you might get there and it's totally not what you believe, or you might be putting yourself in danger. So they're saying that Lilith with a Sagittarius energy is not good because that is the fall of Lilith in Sagittarius energy. And they're saying you got to remember that wherever Lilith is, especially when Lilith is retrograde, that there will be some darkness there, some dark energy that's going to have to be dealt with or reckoned with. So this person has, because of her Lilith retrograde, she must avoid being dogmatic. And they said some people that had Lilith retrograde in the ninth house, they were able to use their ideologies and religious ideas and the philosophies that enslave other people. Like when you just see people that come out that they have the masses following them, but they just use that to benefit themselves for the most part. They may also be energy vampires. They just learned how to use their talents to really steal from other people. Like I said, Jim Baker. They said, but some of these people are like revolutionaries. Like they really come out, they make change, but they just make sure they make a lot of money off of it. All right, give me one. So because it's in the ninth house, there may be sexual adventures with the foreigners or even like foreign land type deals. Because this is the house of traveling and things like that. Okay, 10th house. Well, medium Coeli. Now, whenever you see Cancer in the 10th house, this is some type of fourth house business because Cancer rules the fourth house. Now, this could be a teenage to adult education, land and property, or real estate, your family, your ancestors, your heart, your vehicle or travel. And also, whenever the moon, you had the moon in Cancer, that is your Imom Coeli. This would be your mother, whoever raised you as a child in a mother position. That would be the Imom Coeli, and she will be in your subconscious mind the whole entire time you're in this matrix. So this is your medium Coeli, which is part of your true north node or life purpose, which ironically takes you back to your 7th house. Now, so your purpose in this life has to do with a very aggressive approach or a focused approach to relationships and partnerships, dealing with open enemies or social issues. Now, vertex cross means that cross means you're going to have some type of significant meeting or event, a fated event in this house of relationships. Could be a soul partner. That's anybody that's in your soul tribe, but probably somebody you're closer to though. Or it could be your twin soul, which is your twin flame, same soul, different body. But that is your true north node to meet this person. And also it's going to have a Vesta effect. But wherever you see Vesta, be careful because you can burn yourself out. See, when you see Vesta and Aries in the 7th house, that actually means this person is too aggressive for the relationship. So it might not mean that they're so aggressive that they're a little selfish. I am, which is what Aries says. But it may be they're so aggressive for the relationship that they burn themselves out. So this is the warning we keep giving out. Because you got the vertex and the Vesta. But see, if you really want a relationship, then don't be so aggressive that you burn it out. And see, that's what I learned because I give 100% with everything I do. But I'm learning more and more not to do that. Now I met this female, and she's kind of like, she wants to go. She really wants to get in head on. Like she's just that type of person. But I'm kind of like more chill with it. Because I know for a fact you rush into things that usually don't work. Sometimes they might, but usually they don't. So that's your 7th house as well, but that's also part of your 10th house. So what that means, I don't know. Could be some type of educational connection. Could be family business. But you got to remember, astrologically speaking, your twin is always going to be in your 6th house, or the person you're in a relationship with, because astrologically they consider that person your family, your home, relationship. So that person might be popping up in all those houses. It just depends. But either way, your 7th house and your 10th house are dealing with your true north node that looks like a horseshoe, and your Imom Coeli, your medium Coeli, which also is your true purpose. But there are going to be problems because your true north node doesn't have that aura. That horseshoe should have an R next to it. Usually when it doesn't have an R, it means you have problems, whatever those problems might be. But I already discussed them with Aries energy and stuff. And sometimes it could have been a mistake by the people that set this up by the chart, but we don't know if it was or not. But whenever I don't see that aura, I know for a fact that means you're gonna have problems. And when I see Aries, it isn't. Plus, you might burn yourself out. So don't sacrifice yourself for a relationship. And remember, the 12th house also deals with self-sacrifice. For other people, you shouldn't do it. And also, the 12th house is ruled by Pisces, which is in your 6th house. So it's still telling you don't do it. Don't oversell. Don't sacrifice yourself. Burn your energy out for someone or something else. And the best thing you can do for people to help them is to teach them to help themselves. All right. Now the 11th house is your lead. You're somewhat of a leader with Leo around people. Remember, your 11th house and your Aquarius house. Now I have to ask her, are you somewhat of an isolationist? Because in your 5th house of fun, nothing there but Aquarius, and that could also mean a very unique person. They say Uranus rules Aquarius. They say Uranus is the oddball of the astrological world. So in the 5th house, you got Uranus rules Aquarius. So this could be like an oddball thing, or just like a different type of relationship. Like some people do same sex as anything, but it's going to be different. But this is still your house of fun and childlike behavior, taking risk. And now when you go across to your 11th house of friends, association, and groups, again, Leo's there as a leader and maybe childlike ways, because Leo can be childlike, but it's a very creative house. The 5th house is creative. Leo rules the 5th house, but again, nobody's in the 11th house either, so we would have to ask this person again, are they somewhat of a kind of keeping to themselves? Some people don't like if you say isolationist, but by looking at the 5th and 11th house, there's definitely nobody there, so we have to ask those questions. All right, so that would be something else to work on in this life, is to try to find some type of base where you can associate with other people. And you could pick and choose, though. You have to pick and choose, because you don't want to be associating with people that are going to destroy you or pull you down. So I can understand isolation, because the more you come out of third dimensional mentality, the less you're going to want to be around third, because they'll suck you in. Like that movie said, just when you thought you got out, they suck you back in. So all right, we did the 10th house, 11th house, 12th house, 1st house. We did do the 2nd house. We haven't did the 3rd house yet, or the 4th. But we did every other house. So I'm going to put this on pause. When I come back, we will be doing a 4th house and the 5th house. Correction, we'll be doing the 3rd house and the 4th house. We already did the 5th house. All right. Fifth house is ruled by Leo. It's always about fun, creativity, life, children. It could be travel, anything that's really fun. It could be dating. But when you have Capricorn in the 5th house, you're dealing with some type of karma. And remember, Saturn rules Capricorn, so your 4th and 5th house are dealing with some type of karma. And what happens is when you have Capricorn in the 5th house, this is a person who wants to, like if you say, let's go out, they want to know like where. Say if you're taking the children out to the amusement park, this person wants to know like this and that, or where the rides are at, or what's the wait time on the rides, and all kind of stuff that makes it kind of unfun. Because the 5th house is supposed to be like just going, childlike behavior, even like dating in the early stages of dating when it's just great and fun. But with Capricorn, Capricorn's a little bit more serious-minded, a little bit more. But this could be a person who has turned having fun into a business. Because that the Capricorn rules your 10th house of career and reputation. Otherwise, it's a person who kind of wants to really oversee the fun, which makes it not fun. Because for most people, the moment you start to say, okay, we're going to Disneyland, but I need to know where the haunted house is, and I want to be at the president's whatever by this certain time, or so it's not gonna be fun because you're stressing out with all the do's and don'ts of, because that's what Saturn does over Capricorn. It's rules and regulation, do's and don'ts. Um, whenever you see whenever you see Leo, Neptune, Uranus, and Sagittarius, this is a highly psychic person, and not only highly psychic, but they can tap into the universe around them. Number Leo and Uranus are both connected to number 5, and probably a little bit of Neptune too. But it is also the person that could be being affected by their dreams. So whatever you see in this house is going to affect Pisces in the 6th house. It's also going to affect the 12th house because Pisces rules the 12th house. And we're not saying that the person is not fun. We're saying that the person is kind of going to be Capricornian towards the fun. They're going to try to really control it. Or like I said, it's a person who has learned how to take fun and make it into a business. But when you see Mars in the 5th house, which we do have to talk about, but I'm going to wait. So let's do Neptune. Now, Neptune is called the deceiver because Neptune brings a lot of idealism into a situation. Neptune in the 5th house without Capricorn would be kind of fun because even when Venus is in the 5th house, I mean when Pisces is in the 5th house, this is a person who really idolizes the person they're dating. Like they put this person on a high pedestal. So Pisces is not in the 5th house, but Neptune is. But excuse me, let me look at this again. This is the 4th house. Now, this takes on a whole new meaning with the 4th house. Because you have Aquarius in your 5th house. So we're going to do the 4th house. Again, Capricorn in the 4th house could imply a family business. But it could also imply a more serious, like a Joe Jackson, with the Jackson 5, like Joe Jackson. He saw his family, but he saw his sons, and he saw, we're going to make some money off these children. So in that way, that could lead to repression, because that's why they said Michael Jackson was always yearning for the childhood he never had. Whenever you see planet Mars in any house or any situation when there's children, you always have to be very careful of abuse or aggression. So the first thing we want to do is and remember, when I read to you, your 10th house has Cancer. I told you everything that's in the Cancer, which rules the 4th house. So we already talked about the real estate, the land and property. Because with the people who made your natal chart, they switched it on you. They put your 4th house in your 10th house and put your 10th house in your 4th house. But since your 10th house is now in your 4th house, it has to be read as if it was in the 4th house. So Mars opposite, or we should say, excuse me, Mars conjunct Neptune. And they have a lot of information. Okay, they say this conjunction, Mars conjunct Neptune, can pose several difficulties. And choice of actions where you may struggle to establish what your real aims are, and making that final decision to attempt to change them, achieve them, and in ensuring that sufficient and persistent effort is then made to guarantee success. So an unintegrated Neptune can dissolve that focus well, making decisive clarity difficult to maintain. Additionally, you tend to avoid accepting the consequences of your choices, and there can be a refusal to acknowledge responsibility when such actions lead to failure or negative results. So in the family, it may have been someone, possibly masculine energy, that really didn't do what a man should do. Possibly. And then that's why you see the motherly over in the career sector, because now she's got to work because the man ain't doing it. And once you start to understand that, you can start to understand more of this chart. Like some aggression that she has, because that's what's going to happen if it's not balanced. And that's why we're dealing a lot with Libra. If it's not balanced, because see, the man or the masculine is supposed to be doing certain things. When he fails for whatever reason, when he fails to do what a man should do, that causes the feminine to have to put on more. And that could be some of the reasons for the aggression. But then what happens in a relationship, the feminine is more used to being aggressive and taking the lead, that now the relationship is going to be in balance. Because like I said, when I think of my soulmate, she really is that. She's that person. She's very self-sufficient, and I think she's been put in a situation in this life or past life where she really knew that all she really had was her. Because you can kind of see it just the way she moves and how she acts, and she reminds me a lot of me. But in a relationship, you want that person to want you just like you want them. You don't want all that if you want a real relationship, and that's where it gets difficult. So in a case like that, you have to really sit down and kind of talk with that person. And some people say, okay, well, take me on a date or get to know me, because I don't want to just sit down with you and talk. I don't even know you like that. And then you're saying from a more mature viewpoint, that's my point. You don't even know me like that, so why are we considering a relationship? Because that's why relationships fail, because people dive into them and they ain't ready. So it's like a catch-22. So what's going to decide a situation like that is, do they really want it as much as they say they want it? Because if they really want it as much as they say they want it, they will get through that initial stage. But if they can't get through that initial stage, then it's not a good chance that that's going to be a lasting relationship. Because unfortunately, when you're talking about serious relationships, there has to be a foundation. It can't just be based on, hey, I like you, you like me. Hey, let's hang out, let's do this, let's have sex, let's go out, let's go out. But you guys never sit down with no foundation. And then when your stuff falls, it fell because there was no foundation. So you have to I'm not saying it has to be all serious, but it does have to be a little bit, hey, what's going on? What do you really want? And boom, boom, boom. And you got to be able to look that person in the eye and talk that real talk. And they got to talk it back. Because otherwise, it ain't really going to last. So that's a challenge. So it says, this refusal to admit responsibility, or this person avoids the results of their actions or their choices, the consequences. They try to avoid it. Part of this derives from lack of prior consideration, which I just said, and a willingness to sometimes jump into action on impulse alone, and I just said that. Yet this is often used as a spur to be decisive. I didn't know it would turn out like that. It's used as a defensive excuse, and it's probably true because possible repercussions were not evaluated. So that's what it says. Sometimes you have to sit down before you make the whole thing fun. There has to be some measure of seriousness. And if a person really is serious about you, they should want you to talk to them on a serious level. But you just have to remember that you can't make it so serious that they're not going to want to be with you. But they do have to know, listen, I waited like decades to get back into a relationship, so I don't care who sent you. You know, I could care less, but we need to talk a little bit. So I'm kind of in a predicament like that right now. And it's interesting. So that's all I can say on it, because there's nothing I can say. But anyways, yet continuing with such an approach is essentially avoiding personal responsibility. So they're saying this person's got to learn to take responsibility. But you know what's funny about this? This is only Neptune conjunct Mars. I didn't say anything about Capricorn on this particular thing that I'm reading, because Capricorn is known for kind of being a little responsible. So this is kind of interesting how this is going on. You may realize eventually that most actions you take on impulse go awry in some respect, rarely fulfilling your initial intention. So he's saying with Neptune conjunct Mars, this person's going to still have to learn how to pause and not just do everything off impulse. Pause and think it out. It's sweet. They said you must learn to think about how your actions will have effects on your other people, especially your family and those closest to you. Now, why is that sweet? Because once again, he doesn't know that we're in the fourth house, which is the family house. All right. So that's interesting. So that was Mars conjunct Neptune. Let's do Mars in Capricorn. This is my astrologybook.com. The last thing I read was from astromatrix. I think it's .org. All right, but I'm gonna try it because myastrologybook.com is going somewhere that I don't want to go yet, because especially on the family house. So I hope Astromatrix has it. Astromatrix, Mars, and Capricorn. Okay, they do have two articles, so we're gonna look at both of them. Mars in Capricorn indicates that you will assert yourself in a practical, rational, self-controlled, disciplined, well-organized, persistent, structured, efficient, and effective manner. And I almost fell asleep just reading that. Saying a person will be conservative and conventional. Much of your energy is channeled into professional ambition and social advancement. On occasion, you can be calculating, selfish, materialistic, and show total disregard of others. Sexual relationships are not a priority. You can at times feel inhibited and clumsy in this department. However, if married, sex is elevated to the status of duty to perform, lovemaking, and usually conventional, controlled, and unimaginative. But you do have your moment of transcendence. So they say when you deal with Mars, you're dealing with sexual situations. But like I said, you have to be very careful of that in the fourth house. That's why I didn't touch on it with my astrology books. But if you're dealing with sexual situations in the fourth house, like I said, anything with children and Mars, you got to be real careful because that's definitely usually abuse, one way or another. And when you're dealing with Mars, it could even be like violent abuse. And when you have that, Neptune wants to fantasize, and that's what leads to like Neptune conjunct Mars is a person that wants to go to children. Like remember I was talking about Michael Jackson, and I said the father, and that's what Michael did. Michael went to children for whatever. Now whether he did those things or not, you be your own judge. But these type of people, they can't deal with the real world, so they go to children. So if you notice, they'll have conversations with children, or they'll have children around them, or they may even have secret conversations, secret relations with children. And they said Michael even had rooms in that house, in that mansion, that had cameras on it. So when he was back there with the child or children, he would always know who was coming up in the room and stuff. So that's the dangers of the fourth house. And once you understand what happened in the fourth house, you better understand the repression of Lilith. And that's why she's so close to Cancer. And that's why I even told you that maybe it is 28 degrees Lilith, but because it's 28 degrees Lilith, it could very well be 0 degrees Lilith. You got to always understand that about natal charts. But either way, even if it's correct, it's still so close that you're going to feel that energy. So anything with Pisces energy, and remember now Pisces is in the home sector, anything with Pisces energy, Neptune energy, Capricorn energy, Saturn energy, Mars energy, Aries energy is going to have a bearing on its fourth house, which is implying that there may have been something like that occurred. But then that makes more sense to why somebody might be more aggressive, because they're going to be like, it's never going to happen to me again. And then the way they view men is going to be totally the same way. Now we want to look at the third house, Uranus and Sagittarius. Optimistic, intuitive, and probably enjoy traveling and long journeys. And it's funny they say that, because traveling and long journeys, but yet it's in the third house, a short travel. But that's what I told you. That's a person that travels long distance, and when they get to that city, they're going on like over this stop to that stop, this stop to that stop. You don't like being bound by conservative or orthodox philosophies. Why? Because of what happened in the fourth house. But then you still have Saturn right there. But your faith may stem rather from feeling spiritual energy everywhere. Your conversational style is direct and frank. If Uranus is afflicted, particularly to Jupiter, you may have problems with your sciatic nerve, your lower back. Uranus returns to each sign every 84 years. If Uranus is afflicted to Jupiter, so what we want to do is get my little astrological definitions and look up the word afflicted. All right. Said of a planet in a sign contrary to its nature, such as moon in Capricorn or Scorpio. And that's interesting because your moon is in the eighth house, ruled by Scorpio. Mars in Libra, Taurus, or Cancer. And your Mars is actually in the fourth house, ruled by Cancer. Venus in Aries, Virgo, or Scorpio. Let's find your Venus again. Your Venus is in the second house. Well, it is in Scorpio. Or with a hard aspect from Mars. Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto. Jupiter afflictions are not as severe and denote excessive or poor judgment. So we already talked about the excessiveness through Scorpio anyway. And again, poor judgment. But we already talked about that naiveness when we first started this. Because sometimes if a person has been hurt, say by somebody in their family, they are going to be looking for love. Like me, I'm definitely, like that's like everything to me. And that's why I said even with third dimensional, that's difficult. Like that's a difficult need for like anybody really to fulfill, especially in third dimensional. So now you have to go Saturn. See, Saturn and Uranus don't get along. Like Saturn wants freedom and independence, and Uranus wants freedom and independence. Saturn wants to control stuff. So it's interesting how you have that. Now I don't know if they're trying to tell you something in your earlier life is Saturnian, but later on in life it becomes more like Uranian. So let's just see Saturn in Sagittarius and see what they say. It's funny, all these different websites came up that I've never seen before for that particular placement. See, I really believe these people that say, I know we say God, but I believe natal charts are done by like many, many higher, whatever you want to call them. But they're still people though. Because they got senses of humans, because they be fucking people up. I be reading them natal chart like, man, they definitely did this on purpose and shit. And I had one guy I did, and I like we talked on the phone and stuff like that. So I knew him in that sense, because we would be on the phone talking and stuff, be cracking jokes, because we was around the same age. And I told him, I said, man, I said the people that did your natal chart, they really fucked you over and shit. I said they made sure that you would just miss it by that much and shit, just to fuck with you. And he said, man, he said you're the only dude that admits it. He said I tell everybody that they're fucking with me. He said, but nobody will admit it but you. Because I'm gonna tell the truth. I fear no one. I need that. I've been doing this a long time. I've seen a lot of supernatural shit. I could give a fuck less. Like somebody thinking you think you're gonna make me say what you want me to say because it's financial. No, I'm gonna tell you the truth. If it means a loss of finance, well, I'll put my trust in spirit to get me what I need. But I'm not gonna disrespect the universe or its order by becoming third dimensional. And like I said, at the end of the day, I love my life because only I've seen what I've done since I've been on this planet, and I've had a ball because I've always gone against the grain. I'm truly a Uranus. I'm gonna go. If you give me an ultimatum, you can almost guarantee I'm gonna do the opposite of what you just said. And I love my life. You're only gonna do it one time. Do it big, because when you look back at it, you're gonna be like, wow. Like I do that sometimes. I'll be like, I can't believe I actually did that. Just like yesterday, I got into an argument with this guy. I told that dude, stop yelling, talk to me like a man. And he flipped it. He went to a rage. He said, talk to you like a man. Talk to you like a man. Get in the back room. I'll tell you to talk to you like. So he opens up the door because they keep the back room locked. He opened up the door, threw me in. Now he didn't touch me though, but went in the room and he was just yelling at me. I said, calm. But I thought the jump was funny. I was like, calm down. I said, say what you want to say. Stop yelling. I said, if you don't stop yelling, I'm not going to listen to you. He was like, I'll talk to you like a man. I'll say it. He was like, get out of here. Get out of my office and shit. So that joke was hilariously funny to me, because, oh, what's all the yelling? What's the problem? And he's lost his freaking mind. And so one of the other guys I work with said, "What's going on?" He said, "Let me go talk to him." So he talked to the guy. So the guy called me back in his office and apologized. He said, "Listen, I got a lot of stuff going on, blah blah blah. I'm just under some pressure. It was the wrong way to handle it." So to me, it wasn't no big deal because I thought it was funny. So that was it. But that was the case where they were trying to push me a certain way, and I let them know, "Oh, no way are you gonna push me, especially when you're lying. I'm not gonna let you lie on me and get away with it." But that's because I've been here long enough, and I'll learn. I walk in spirit. If you fear spirit, if you fear God, you ain't gotta fear nobody else. So now you got this Saturn. So I want to know what all these new, websites are, why they came up. So I want to really look into that. All right. So we're still looking at the third house. Give me a moment. Now we're going to do Uranus conjunct Saturn. Now, when you see something like this, and Juno's right there, because Juno implies that that asteroid looks like an asterisk. That implies a serious relationship. But it's gonna be some type of Uranus Saturn stuff going on. And like what I learned, like one of the person I thought was my twin flame from 2014 to 2016. She is definitely connected to my maternal mother. So your masculine twin flame might connect to whatever Capricorns in your family. They might be connected. That's a strong possibility. I mean through energy. Now somebody said an effective balance between those two energies. They do not get along. One wants to be free, spur of the moment, do what it wants, spur of the moment. It's against the status quo. And one wants the status quo and doesn't believe in spur of the moment. They want to control everything. I work for a guy like that. That's how he is. He flipped out yesterday, but it was funny though. That man lost his mind. It was just a wild day where one person said some slick shit that was strictly a lie about me. So I was trying to handle it, but then I said, "Nah, it ain't worth it. Don't mess around, and lose the job." And then while I'm trying to get over this guy, then the other guy starts yelling at me for some silly stuff. So he just gets caught in the crossfire. Me and him go back and forth too. They just be on some silly stuff up in there. But when I go back, I'm just gonna say, you know what, just do the job and don't worry about it. See, sometimes I always care too much. Sometimes you shouldn't care so much. Just go do what you're supposed to. Get the heck out of there. All right. So you're not. See, I'm more Uranus and he's more Saturn. So me and him always clash. But I will be trying to stop that. Just keep the job or whatever. All right. So that's the energy that's in your house. And again, When you see Sagittarius in the third house, it probably is a foreigner or a foreign speaking person, because the third house is all about communications. And I already went over everything that's in the third house, but it's also a very creative house, like I was saying. Now, your third house is a product of whatever happened to you in the fourth house that kind of made you who you are. They even say the fourth house usually is your roots of who you are. So there is not going to be an effective balance between. They said two antagonistic planets. So you got the forces of order, Saturn, and the forces of chaos, Uranus. Talking about trying to bring the opposites into equilibrium. But that might be a theme on your chart. Allowing a space for something new to be born. So this person will have the ability to fuse ideas with practical applications. To ground and anchor. Now I did say that ground. I said that earlier. So whoever did your chart, that was their goal. They wanted to take your watery, intense emotions and ground them with earth signs. And now they want to take this air sign, which is Gemini. And remember, Libra's a Gemini air sign too. And then they're trying to ground it. Yeah, because even your Libra has Mercury. And Mercury rules Gemini, which rules the third house. So your chart is basically like alchemy. Whoever put your chart together, they're just mixing up. It's like somebody in the kitchen just putting stuff together to see how it'll come out. To ground and anchor these sometimes slightly intangible and ephemeral Uranian ideas. But they're not all Uranian. Don't say Uranian ideas because it's Uranus and Saturn. Just transforming the form, the level of mind into material existence. See, this is alchemy. This is astrological alchemy or natal alchemy. That's why I said it's people to put these charts together. Just like I didn't know how I was going to talk to my soulmate yesterday, and she kind of was seeing if I was going to speak to him when I came in. And then I guess I didn't move fast. I know why she did it, because I didn't move fast enough. So then she went on about her business, and then I was just walking through the building, but I was still going to try to speak to her because we haven't spoke for a while. And then as I was coming out the other side of the building, she was running it, going somewhere, and she literally like ran into me. But that used to happen with me and my twin. Like when the universe wants y'all to meet or talk, y'all gonna meet. That's why I be saying more people should listen to guys like me and just trust the universe. That's why they're running, because they want it right now. They're like little children. And that's why you see like all these people on all these twin flame videos, but they're just impatient and they want it now and they don't want to do the work. See, this is about work. If you're listening, all this shit is about work. You need your natal chart. You need to know what's going on. And that's what you need to focus on, because it's telling you what signs you need to be aware of, what houses you need to be aware of. So you have the location, you have the work, but it's up to you to do the work. And most people don't want to do the work. They just want to jump in bed real quick. And then when it fails, then and then separation. And now they're all upset, mad at God and mad at the universe. But you're the person that didn't want to listen. You're the one that wanted to take the shortcut. Oh, I'll go to a psychic or something. But that's why you have a natal chart. It's all there. And the more you begin to work with the natal chart, work with spirit, the more you'll see that whole situation get a little bit better. I'm not going to say everything's going to be perfect, but it's going to get a little bit better than guessing and trying to. This is not about your emotions. This is not about the physical or the flesh. This is about you bringing your person in line with your natal chart, which is your prophecy, your predictive prophecy for your life. And your life will get, I know mine did, I know other people did. I was listening to somebody else that was talking about the archangels, because I listened to a lot of different people last night, because I put a channel together for my soulmate to look at if she's interested. So I was looking at a lot of different people last night, and that's what one person said. Ever since she started listening to the archangels, her life has never been the same, and nor has mine. Much better. So Saturn will help Uranian energy flow more consistently and reliable, because Uranus can be but I see this is what I'm trying to say, that's your twin, because that's where Juno is. So this masculine energy is kind of helping you, because up until now we've been talking about very, very much intense watery energy. But now in your third house, and this is the communication house, so it might be even have long talks with this person, might be some you get on each other's nerves, then you kind of talk it out. Because otherwise you would just be intently Uranus with all that high Scorpio energy. And then now you got Uranus energy. So you'll be good at creating order from chaos, but see, even it's in the speaker house. So you may be good at speaking and bringing order from chaos, and also because you got the whole Libra social stuff going on too. Now we haven't looked at your Pallas yet, your Pallas asteroid, so we got to find out where that is, because Pallas also deals with social issues and, like, you know, people that need help, like social people that need help, or even women that may have been need help or be abused or something. So Uranus is not disruptive just to be disruptive. Uranus is disruptive to create a higher order to be superimposed. So according to them, they're saying this is what your third house is about. Uranus energy that wants to shake things up, but Saturn is still going to organize it. In other words, they're working together. But it could also be bipolar. One minute they want to be Uranus, spur of the moment, and next minute they want to be Saturnian. Or it could be two different people, one being one aspect of the twin and the other being the other aspect of the twin. So they'll still be getting into different debates, but it's in the communication sector, and they may even work it out. So this person might be the one that really causes disorder when disorder is necessary, and then restores order when they're able to do it. So this person might actually appreciate the past, but they're very intuitive and they appreciate the necessity of change to modern times. So her third house can be a house of evolution if she utilizes those energies correctly. Otherwise, it's going to be some type of bipolar stuff going on. 1 minute you're saying one thing, then a few whatever you're saying something else, and you got somebody looking at you like, well, you starting to get on my last nerves. What the heck is wrong with you, woman? Till you get that natal chart and then you see, oh, now that makes sense to me. Like, because the natal charts and what I do, I understand my soulmate a whole lot. But she's like a jewel, though. She's like totally beautiful. But it's just that she's got that naivety. And I'm more realistic. It's like when you see young people fall in love and they think they really going to stay in love and shit. They think they're not going to argue. They think this world ain't going to shake them up. And what you don't understand is spirit forces. That's why on my other channel, I keep it like 100. I will not water shit down on that channel. That's why I had that specific channel. Because you got to deal with life too. You can't always talk about love and all that stuff. This is a hard planet to be on. This planet will make you or break you. and you have to learn how to deal with it. And that's why maturity is necessary to some degree. I'm not saying be boring. I'm not saying don't have fun. But if you're not ready to mature, ain't nothing you have as far as relationship gonna last. So you might have some great sex, you might have some great times, but when it comes time to just move forward, you're not gonna want to do it. Because the moment it's not fun or fulfilling you sexually, you're going to want out. You're going to find a reason to get out and be with somebody else or some other stuff. Because that's a lack of character and a lack of maturity. So we need somebody out here teaching it, even if I lose a lot doing so. And if you notice, if you know astrology, you look at the most recent transit chart or natal chart, the true north node is in Leo. See, I'm a Leo. I've been given that assignment to keep everything at one with the universe. And that's what I try to do. So this person is trying to bring about a next stage in human development, and they're going to do it with the art of communications and creativity. So they'll really be good at saying, hey, you know, that might have worked back then, but how do we get this going now? And like a lot of stuff, when you see Aquarius or Uranus or Scorpio, that's what you be seeing on YouTube. See, these are the creators or whatever you want to call them, the engineers. And that's what they just said. You like to use social. This person will use social media or social situations as a form of expression. So that was interesting. And that's where you're gonna find a serious relationship because of those two energies. And again, because it's Sagittarius, it could be a foreigner. It could be a long distance relationship. It could be communications. Or it could just mean that it's gonna be someone mature. Because you got Saturn right there. Because see, Juno wants a serious relationship. And so does Saturn. But the good thing is about it'll have a little bit of Uranus in it because people like it interesting too. Like it's just human nature, especially females. They don't want so much consistency, and that's why a guy might think he's doing the right thing by being a great guy and predictable and on time and all that, but he's actually damaging a relationship because she also likes a little Uranus, and believe it or not, she even likes a little bit of arguments and stuff like that. It's truly like if you're pursuing a female, it's truly something that's a very ecstatic, you could say. Very, very a lot of energy that can go either way. And if you're a guy, you gotta really be ready for it. You can't just be see, with my moon sign Capricorn, that might not be the best thing. That's for like older, more people that's sitting in. But with my sun sign Leo could probably deal with it more as long as he doesn't take himself or the situation too seriously and stays witty. But the Capricorn, he ain't trying to hear all that. He wants order. He don't want to see all that. And that could be boring to anybody. Even if he is a good dude, it's still boring. So you got to know all that stuff before you think you're going to be dating somebody or getting into a relationship with somebody. All right. So yeah, that's it. That is the third house and the fourth house. So let's do it again. Now, where are we going to find love on this chart? Second house. But that's some weird, freaky stuff with Scorpio, with money and possessions. There is love there, but that might not be the type of love you're looking for as far as long term. That could be that R. Kelly, bang 'em up type love. Wham bam, thank you, or whatever, the booty call type. Ain't trying to get serious with you, but I darn sure want to hit you. Hit it and quit it, James Brown. And because the Scorpio rules the 8th house, you go to Taurus, there's the money again. But see, it's your money in the 8th house, which isn't good, because Taurus represents your money, the second house. So you want to be very careful of spending your money up. Because again, on your chart, you do have that kind of tendency to, you don't want to make people happy so much that you actually sacrifice yourself. So you got to be careful of that. And it goes deep within your emotions because of the moon. But Scorpio and the moon both can hide things that are hidden. The 8th house and the 12th house is all about, and Scorpio is all about hiding things.
So you got to be careful, especially with hiding things in the second house, because you're going to see some legal issues if that's not your money, and your second house is talking about other people's money. So you got to be real careful, because you may have already or might see some legal issues. It may be a little jail time, like Jim Baker. All right. Now, third house, communications. Juno's there, and this is going to be a shake 'em up type relationship, because you got Saturn, who's conservative, going against Uranus, who's spur of the moment, free, don't want to be told what to do. So it's going to be a shake 'em up type of relationship. And again, the signs you want to be familiar with are Saturn, Capricorn, Uranus, Aquarius, Sagittarius, Jupiter. So these are all energies or planets that may have something to do with your Juno relationship. So that's why they say, what is your sign? And once you get the sign, you can kind of know. And the third house is Gemini. So remember, Gemini and Gemini's rule with Mercury. And if you notice where Mercury is right where your Libra is, which is, again, relationships. So all those signs of planets I named may play a role in you getting a serious relationship, which is represented by Juno. Now, getting your freak on, that's Venus, but that could also be Libra and Taurus. It's definitely your freak on with Scorpio is definitely Venus, Taurus, Libra as well. And it's possible that the person you started off just freaking, all of a sudden you catch feelings, and next thing you know, y'all trying to talk about a relationship or something. Now, your seventh house again. It has vertex, so that's where you're going to meet somebody, something in seventh house. So that's Aries energy, Libra energy, and that's what your first house say, backward Mercury. And Mercury rules over Gemini and Virgo, because Virgo is always going to be that healing. And then in the 12th house, you got Virgo energy that needs to be healed. So this could also be a spiritual situation. Because like I said, these could be different lifetimes, or some people do. Because you have a lot of freaky Christians. You know, they still getting their freak on, but they still dealing with spirituality or whatever. Or it could be two different people or two different circumstances, two different times in your life. And Vesta is really a priestess, which shows you spirituality. And Vesta is a lot of energy as well. And she can also be isolation as well. Remember, whenever you see like Vesta in the seventh house or Vesta in Libra, that could also be a legal thing to cause you to get locked up or some form of isolation. Because Vesta can also be like isolation. She's also the fire in your fireplace. She's any energy, but she can also be isolation, like a elevator or a room or a jail cell. So your true north node is definitely part of the vertex, which means your true north node or your seventh house of relationships is definitely part of your life purpose in this life. So we gave you all the signs, all the energies to look out for. So that will conclude this natal chart analysis. Remember to check out me on Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. Got up a lot of sales. You'll see it. If you don't have the most recent services offered and priceless, let me know. Contact information is down in the description box. If anybody wants to get started, all I need is your day, date, year of birth, and month. Make sure you write it out. Don't go 7/11/74, because 7/11/74 in America is totally different than Britain. So once you have it, if you just go July 11th, 74, it's no problem. Because I don't want to hear November 7th, 74 after we got started, because I can't just stop and change it. So you want to make sure you write it out. That's the best way to do that. Time of birth, if you don't have it, we ask the archangels, they give it to us. Gender, they're going to ask male or female. That's all you can choose. And city, state, and country, if not the U.S. And again, like I said, we got all kind of sales going on, even a phone consultation. All that is on Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. You see those videos listed. You can also get the services and price list. We also dealing with karmic relationships, karmic depths, soul karmic relationship, all this stuff. Life purposes, numerology, you name it, we do it. So get in contact. God bless.